Jackie, who will be a 5th grader at Longden, Kaya, who will be a 7th grader at Oak. And I also had the privilege this past year to serve as the chairperson of the Longden School Site Council. And we don't have any formal method of telling you what happened there, but I want to try to do it anyway. I want to recognize people that served on that council with me, Ann Kasanovich, teachers Debbie Microvich and Mary Sneed, who are both here, Patty Taylor, and our final teacher representative, of course, was Carol Deitmeyer. And Carol Deitmeyer showed me one thing about Longden when I was working with her, which is how generous people can be. She was the most generous, sweet lady that I've ever had a chance to work with. And after every single meeting, she was the last one to leave, and she always came to me and told me how thankful she was that I was volunteering and that I was doing something. To which, of course, I replied, I'm really not doing very much. And of course, Sean Thomas, also on the council. Now you can imagine how that might go with some parent activists, some teachers who obviously chose to be there because they wanted to have their voices heard, our principal, and then somebody like me who ended up being the chair only because I was the guy that showed up in a suit. Well, I'll tell you how it went. It went great. And I think it went great because everybody involved spoke civilly with each other, and on each subject, whatever it was, and I was always one of the least knowledgeable about whatever we were talking about. But we looked to the parents, what do the parents have to say? We looked to the teachers, what do the teachers have to say, if they had a uniform thing to say. But we just made sure everybody's voice was heard. I'm concerned now, with 2 more years for my daughter at Longden, with another change in the principal position. And I want to just say of Sean Thomas that I always appreciated how she believes strongly in educating the whole student, which I think is one of the best parts of this school district compared to other districts. And Longden does a lot of great things, and I've got lists here, and I'm running out of time. I want to give you one example, though, of the kinds of students that Longden has been creating. My older daughter was in Ms. Jennings' class, and there was a moment early on in the year. I think it's charitable to say Ms. Jennings had a challenging group of students, the kind of group of students that it seems to me may change the course of a teacher's career. And at one point she appeared to be rather frustrated in trying to control the class, and so she told the class that starting on the following school day there would be some new rules which would be rather stringent, and she was visibly upset as the class broke that day. A group of students, which did include my daughter, but included others also, because she was upset, they put together a gift basket for Ms. Jennings, and the next school day they gave that to her. So to me, that's an example of the kind of student that, through the character education at Longden and through other means, is being developed by a school which, by all views, really seems to be functioning pretty well for the most part. Having said that, Longden obviously has challenges due to the size of the student population, teaching staff, and a campus that, after the incident in Connecticut, and when Bob Westgate came to our council to talk about safety issues, I realized this is an incredibly difficult campus to keep safe. So where we are today, my daughter will be starting 5th grade, and she'll have the 4th different principal that she's had during that time. And it seems to me there's a little bit of instability that needs to be addressed, and I hope that all of you will consider that when you're looking at the next principal for Longden. You might forgive people at Longden for feeling just a little bit neglected, because we see from some other schools, and I have to, Mr. Gray's here, and it's not only because my daughter's about to start at his school. I live around the corner from Oak Avenue, and I've attended a couple of events there, and I have to say, if you talk about a school with stability, that's it, okay? And I want to see in this district more schools like that, and less schools that have what seems to be instability. So I'd suggest to you, and I do want to thank you for giving a full-time assistant principal to Longden during the last school year, which was helpful. But as you're looking for the next principal, I encourage you to find someone who does bring experience to the position as an administrator. We've had wonderful people in that role, but I just do not believe today that that school is a good place for someone's first principal job. And in that choice, I also, to the extent that you can, I'd suggest that you try to take the approach that we took and I'm not taking credit for it, but just by default, on our school site council, we tried to hear what the parents had to say, and we tried to hear what the teachers had to say, and staff members, and I hope that everyone can give some meaningful input into that. And parents, as our kids leave, we go with them, right? The staff stays, the teachers stay. But I know that myself and a number of other parents want to try to leave Longden better than we found it, and we hope that there can be a little more stability in the future as the new principal comes in and stays for a while. Thank you.